Hello, I'm Peter Mondavi Jr. of the Charles Krug Peter Mondavi Family Winery. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through a rich history of the Charles Krug Vineyards and Winery. 1861, Charles Krug, a Prussian immigrant, founded Napa Valley's first winery. And he was the first person to produce commercial wine in Napa Valley, being the forefather of the Napa Valley wine industry. How he came about this property is he married Carolina Bale, and with that marriage came a dowry of 500 acres of land in the heart of Napa Valley. He planted 15,000 vines the first year and expanded to 60,000 vines the next 2 years. Charles Krug passed away in 1892. The banker, James Moffett Sr., assumed ownership in 1895. The Moffett family owned the winery from 1895 through 1943. 1920 to 1933 saw the Prohibition Act in place. This raised havoc with the wine industry. The survival of a few wineries was dependent upon medicinal wine and sacramental wine for religious purposes. My grandparents, Cesare and Rosa Mondavi, immigrated over from Italy in 1908, settling into Virginia, Minnesota, where they had family and friends that sponsored their immigration from Italy. At the onset of Prohibition in 1920, my grandfather started a business of shipping fresh wine grapes to home winemakers in the area and expanding that to the northeast part of the United States. Shortly after that, in 1922, the whole family moved to California to further the business of shipping these grapes to the whole northeast part of the United States. In 1943, my grandparents purchased the Charles Krug Winery from James Moffett Jr. for a grand sum of $75,000. What they purchased was approximately 150 acres remaining of the original estate, the two grand old historical buildings built by Charles Krug, as well as the Charles Krug brand name. So that's how I have my family name associated with the Charles Krug brand name. 1944 was the first vintage under my dad, and we also produced the first vintage of the Vintage Select Cabernet Sauvignon. Dad was the first to introduce French oak barrels for aging of our reds in 1963 in Napa Valley. Also cold fermentation, which my dad developed at his days at Stanford and Berkeley through extensive research, was being widely implemented. By the early 90s, my family embarks on a 10-year replanting effort that changes the face of the Charles Krug Vineyards. We have 850 acres of land throughout Napa Valley, spreading from Howell Mountain to St. Helena, Yountville, and south to Carneros. We have replanted over 450 of these acres, with 72% of these plantings being in Bordeaux red varietals, which is the focus of our winery today. Most recently in 2008, we embarked on the restoration of the 1874 Redwood Cellar and our 1881 Carriage House. The Redwood Cellar still retains its original use as a wine aging facility for our family reserve wines. The Carriage House has been converted into a beautiful entertainment area where the upstairs has glorious open ceilings that are covered with the recycled redwood from the redwood tanks that my grandparents installed in the 40s in our Redwood Cellar. This is the most current release of our Bordeaux Reds in the marketplace, and also it is the fabulous representation of our Bordeaux Red varietals today and moving forward. I invite you to seek out our Napa Valley Cabernet, Merlot generations, and our Vintage Select Cabernet, all of them getting great reviews. Stop by our winery to help celebrate our 150th anniversary. Quality has always been my family's focus and tradition ever since we bought this winery in 1943. We stand by those roots but continue to innovate in all aspects of grape growing and winemaking.